Hello, cooking enthusiasts! In today's video, I'm going to go over a little gelato recipe that I came up with. I'll put the recipe on screen right now, and it'll also be written down in the description. One thing you may notice is coffee-infused maple syrup. If you haven't seen my video on how to make coffee-infused maple syrup, I'll also link that in the video description. If you can't be bothered, you could substitute regular maple syrup since it is a good flavor combination. However, something you could do is use the coffee grounds that are the byproduct of making coffee maple as some of the coffee grounds you use for the gelato recipe. Since I had already made my coffee-infused maple a while ago, I started with 80 grams of fresh coffee beans that I did a very coarse grind on, and I sifted out the very fine particles. This left me with 70 grams of coffee grounds, although the exact amount isn't super important. I then simmered this with 750 mils of whole milk for about 20 minutes. Infusing the milk is the real key variable. I wanted a really strong coffee flavor, and I have a pretty high tolerance to bitterness, but I was basically infusing the milk until it was almost unpleasantly bitter. And you want to do that because you're going to be adding a lot of sugar. Your goal is to get at least 500 grams or mils of this infused milk after you strain out the coffee grounds. If you're much shorter than that, I would top it up with about 50 mils of fresh milk. At this stage, you want to add your brown sugar, your maple syrup, and your cream while it's still relatively warm. You also want to add a very generous pinch of salt and then taste your ice cream base. It takes some practice, but you have to imagine how it's going to taste when it's cold, which is to say the sweetness is going to be very reduced. Depending on your coffee infusion, you may want to balance it with a little bit of extra brown sugar. Just add a tablespoon at a time until you're happy with the balance. One optional step is to add some Angostura or other aromatic bitters. That may seem like a little bit of a bitter overload, but it works really well since a lot of the flavors in cocktail bitters accentuate the coffee flavors. Once you're happy with your flavor, you want to let the mixture cool down a little bit and then incorporate 3 egg yolks. Then it's time to cook your custard. I recommend cooking sous vide at 65 Celsius for about 45 minutes. You then want to let your mixture cool down, and I also recommend letting the ice cream base chill overnight in the fridge. Then it's just a matter of churning it in an ice cream machine. You can enjoy some of it right out of the machine, but the texture will be best if you let it sit in the freezer for at least a few hours. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I've made a lot of frozen desserts over the years, and this is easily the best one I've ever made. If you have any questions about this recipe or about making frozen desserts in general, please let me know in the comments. And if you do try this recipe, please let me know. Like and subscribe and share if you liked this video. Otherwise, thank you for watching.